want to know what's bothering you in the world of sports? Give Murph a call at 312-644-6767. That's 312-644-6767. And tell him what's beefing you in the world of sports. What's Your Beef is brought to you by Brown's Chicken Sandwiches and Catering.
Phone lines are jumping. One line open, 312-644-6767. I hope you enjoyed your $49 football party special from Browns for your Super Bowl party. Remember, though, that's good for having the fellas over to play some poker, having your friends' family over. They've got that $49 special all the time. No cooking and no cleanup. It's terrific. Lunchtime today at Brown's. It tastes better. Me, I love the Maxwell Street Polish. Let's go to the phone lines. See what the fans of Chicago are beefing about in the world of sports. I see Southside Ron.
Hey, Murph.
Southside Ron, hello. What's your beef?
Yeah, my beef is with a couple coordinators in the NFL who, for 2 weeks, sat on their hands and collected a paycheck and did nothing and cost a certain team to lose the Super Bowl.
Ron and Ron? Is that the two guys, the Rons?
That is correct.
Well, call her Ron. Your namesakes, Ron Turner, Ron Rivera. You know what? It's tough for you and me and the fans to know exactly the X's and O's and the 2-week game plan, but I'll tell you something. I didn't see anything different. What they did for those 2 weeks, if they were told by Lovey, do what we do, dance with the ones that brung you, then you know what? Then they're all wrong. The way I saw it and the way you see it, nothing happened in those 2 weeks that stood out to me, caller Ron.
You're right.
All right, but hey, you know what? I like your angle. You're going to go to Browns. Hang on, all right, Ron? Hang on, buddy. Hook up my guy, Ron, on the south side. Send him on over to Browns. He's probably going to get an Italian beef, Italian sausage, the combo. Oh, man, I'm getting hungry right now for Browns. 50 locations in greater Chicagoland. East Rogers Park. Secret Squirrel, is that you?
Merv, I'm here.
Secret Squirrel, what's your beef, Squirrel?
My beef is with every other talk show host on the score except you and John DeWant for being stand-up. Over the past 2 weeks, we've heard predictions. We've heard blah, blah, blah. Nobody comes on to take the heat. Man, I'm going to give me John's website. I'm going to start following him more closely.
StatOfTheWeek.com. And BaseballInfoSolutions.com.
Beautiful, Murph.
Thanks, Secret Squirrel.
All right.
Appreciate the kind words. I appreciate that very much. That was a very good point, I thought.
Yeah, that's a great point by you.
Yes, let's go next to Carl from Glen Ellen. Hello, Carl.
Hey, Murph, how you doing?
I love Glen Ellen. How's everything out there, my friend?
Oh, pretty snowy and cold.
I hear you. What's your beef, Carl?
Well, my beef is with a certain offensive coordinator with plenty of time in the fourth quarter to call plays that don't really go to the Bears' strengths. I mean, how many times have we seen a sideline pass work all season? Rex goes down the middle. They just did a big pass down the middle. They could have run it down the middle. They had plenty of time. They were only down by 5. And then they threw, a moonshot bigger than the St. Louis Arch rainbow, and the rest is history there.
Well, you're exactly right. There was still 14 minutes to go in the game. The Bears are only trailing by 5, 22-17. And what really puzzled me was even at the end of the game, the last 2 minutes or so, it would have been a miracle to throw the one bomb and maybe get pass interference, then get the onside and do it again. They needed 2 touchdowns. But you know what? To just dink and dunk at the end of the game there at the 7-minute mark and the end of the game to the tight end, it was just sad. You know what? Why don't you at least go for it? The odds are against you, but you got no chance dinking and dunking.
Well, they should have dinked and dunked then. I mean, that would have been fine down by 5. But
earlier, right.
12,
earlier. Yeah, you know what? You're right. They reversed the menu.
Yeah.
Instead of going dink and dunk when they're down by 5 and there's a full of 13 minutes to go, that's when they were going deep. And then at the end of the game, when you got to go for broke, they were dinking and dunking.
Right.
I don't get it either. Hey, you're going to visit my friends at Browns, all right, Carl?
Thanks, Luke.
Hang on, buddy. Hook up, Carl. Everyone's going to Browns because it tastes better. Would you put together the Italian beef and the Italian sausage? Get yourself a big combo. Takes 2 hands to hold it. I ever tell you about Producer Si, ever tell you about our sales manager here at the Score? He went to Brown's about 2 months ago, and he came and he had red sauce all over his beautiful shirt and tie. I go, what happened to you? He goes, meatball sandwich at Brown's. You get the 4 big meatballs, the marinara, bloop, dripped all over his beautiful shirt and tie. You know what? At least he didn't blame Brown's. You know what? I said, hey, you got to use 2 hands and a napkin.
That's his fault on that one.
I think he goes by the handle Superfan Dan. You ever hear of him?
It was Dan Richmond.
Yeah. No, man. Are you kidding me? Superfan Dan. You can always tell what he had for lunch when he's been to Brown's.
Yeah, that doesn't
all
surprise
over the
me
shirt.
the bit.
All over the shirt. Let's go to Terry from Aurora. Hey, Terry.
How you doing?
I'm fine, Terry. What's your beef?
My beef's against everybody on Rex's case. If everybody after the preseason would have said we're happy with a Super Bowl appearance, they would have been jumping for joy.
Well, you raise a good point. When you have, low expectations like we all did, and you're right, Terry, everyone had low expectations in Bourbonnais, right?
Yeah, and everybody and all the media pumped him up after 6 games, and then they dropped him down, and they put him on the roller coaster.
I don't know. Don't you think the fans called the Score and pumped him up and then brought him down also? It's easy to blame the sports writers, but, I think a lot of the fans call in, and they were doing the same thing. We all got pumped up, and then he had the brutal... Hey, Lovey was the guy, Terry. Lovey was the guy that admitted one more bad half, and he'd have yanked them and changed out quarterbacks. That wasn't the media. That was the head coach, Terry.
After all the pressure leaped on him, we have a rookie quarterback pretty much. And
so the media made Rex the bad Rex.
They made him the good Rex, and then they jumped on him when he was the bad Rex.
All right. Hey, Terry, here's the other thing. As a Cub fan, I don't want to just get to the World Series. I want to win the World Series.
Yeah, well...
Because I see what happens on
last year if they were there, though, wouldn't you?
Well, I don't know. You know what? And it might be a good topic. Producer Si, put that down next week. We'll credit Aurora Terry. Thanks, Terry.
All right.
Appreciate it very much. Let's do that next week, Producer Si. Let's ask Cub fans after... We, Cub fans, got to view 35th Street 2 years ago. Sox fans get to have the parade. Bears fans don't get the parade. I'm going to ask Cub fans next week when things slow down a little bit. Would you be happy just like Terry just said from Aurora? Would you just be happy Cub fans getting to the World Series and then losing?
Okay.
All right?
Yeah. I wouldn't be. I'm not a Cub fan, thank goodness.
That's why I have that phrase, declare.
Yes.
Declare. You forgot about that from the baseball days. We'll be back. Declare.
I'm a Sox
fan.
fan.
Well, then you're not invited to call in for this segment. But you can eavesdrop.
Yes,
thank
you.
There you go. You can call in if you want. Sports Radio 670. It's Murphapalooza for Browns. Who's going to be the next winner? Maybe you. Stick around. Back in a flash. Next round of phone calls. Because Browns tastes better, and it ain't just chicken anymore. Lunchtime at Browns. Get those side dishes, too, man. Get some of the coleslaw. Get some of the baked beans. Oh, my God, it's delicious. It's the Score. It's fried mushrooms. Oh. I don't believe it. What's your beef? Brought to you by Browns. It ain't just chicken anymore. Brown's Chicken Sandwiches, catering, pasta. Let's go to lunchtime at Brown's right now. Head on over. I'm hungry just thinking about it. Shaft from East Hazel Crest has his own theme song. Hello, Shaft.
Hey, what's going on, Murph? How you doing, man?
I'm fine. You staying warm in East Hazel Crest today, I hope?
I'm staying warm. I got 2 sick kids here.
Man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Care of them,
you take care. Hey, what's your beef, Shaft?
Man, my beef is with a Chicago quarterback who along with the team, but who seemed to just couldn't keep his hands ready for the ball when it came to him. I have one word for Rex Grossman: isotoner. He couldn't get it together.
Well, and we just had Terry from Aurora call in. Don't be so hard on Rex. You know what else, Shaft? Is anyone talking about the fact that when the rain hits football, the larger your hands, the better chance you probably got to grip the ball, right?
I agree.
And you're talking about isotoners or gloves. Peyton Manning, and I never measured a man's hands, if you know what I'm saying. But I got to figure Peyton Manning's got bigger fingers and longer hands than it looked like Rex got a little stub. Don't get me wrong, he's got a rocket for an arm.
He's got a rocket for an arm.
Rex Grossman, I got to figure when the ball gets a little slick back there, those little paws of his don't wrap around,
They don't wrap around. And now I got to wait another 21 years before my team goes to the Super Bowl.
Oh, but you know what? You're not going to wait 21 years to go to Browns. Yeah, you know what? Get some Browns. Feed the little kids so that they feel better, okay? Feed a cold. Feed a cold at Browns.
Thanks so much.
All right, hang on. Hook up my guy, Chef. Home stretch from Browns. It ain't just chicken anymore. Let's go to Mark on the beef lines here in Orland Park. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Murph.
Hey, Marcus, what's your beef?
My beef is with the pundits in criticism of Grossman.
Mm-hmm.
I think, in any profession, you have to go through your learning curve, whether you're a doctor, attorney, electrician.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you look back at history of football, Staubach, Bradshaw, Steve Young, Brett Favre, it took them a time to go through their learning curve. And I think Grossman collapsed this year when he was overwhelmed by circumstance of the high stage. And, the criticism of him is unfair based upon his going through his learning curve.
Well, you raised some great points. I can't really argue with you on those, but I'll also say this. Number one, will he collapse again under pressure? That's something that we'll find out. Will he collapse again? And number two, unlike the surgeon or the electrician who learns, the journeyman in the union trades, for instance, but you see, you can do that for 20, 30 years. The window, there's not a window when you're putting in a new electrical box somewhere where this is the only time we can do it and win it all. The window starts slamming shut. Are you going to have Lance Briggs back? Who's the coaches next year? I think in sports, the fans say, hey, you know what? That was the chance. So you might not have. How many veteran guys go, I always thought I'd be back. Mark, they say, I thought I'd have another chance. You hear Hilge or you hear Tom Thayer, and they say, I thought we'd have many more trips back when I was a young player after 85. You just don't know. That's what puts the pressure on everybody, the fans and Rex Grossman, Mark.
No, I appreciate that, but think back to Dallas with Staubach when they rotated Morton and Staubach.
I remember that. I watched that as a kid.
And when Staubach was going through his learning curve, Dallas got to the end of the road and they weren't able to do it. But once they put it together, they were the best for years to come.
That was also before free agency, and you had those players locked up. Now they do come and go, but Brett Favre is a good example. He won over different periods of time there. Mark, great contribution. Hey, you're going to go to Browns chicken, beef, pasta, sandwiches. Hang on, Mark. Nicely done, buddy. Don't agree with you. Doesn't mean no wasn't good input. Good input and good content. Preach it. Send Mark over to Browns because it tastes better. Craig's in Decatur. Hello, Craig.
How you doing? My first time calling.
Hey, the original home of the Bears, the Decatur Staleys, or the Decatur Stalers. Hello, Craig. What's your beef?
My beef is with the Chicago coaching staff. On the opening drive of the Super Bowl, I'll make sure everybody saw this. Devin Hester scores a touchdown. 80 or 82 yards?
Right.
And my deal is the Colts obviously got scared because they wouldn't kick back to him.
93. Yeah, go ahead.
Why didn't we, either at halftime or sometime along the course of the game, make an offensive play for Hester as either a slot receiver or wide out or even a running back and put him in and use him as an offensive guy for the speed?
Congratulations, you've just been named the Browns Chicken Caller of the Show.
You know what? That's a great comment. Craig in Decatur, next time you're up in the Chicago area, 50 Browns locations, you're caller of the show. Hang on, okay, Craig?
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy. You know what? 2 weeks they had. 2 weeks. I remember Rosner wrote when I was down in Miami reading Barry Rosner that there had been scuttlebutt going around. The Bears might have put a couple trick packages in there on offense. Maybe they just felt they never had time to use it. Maybe tomorrow, Producer Cy, or later today. Let's also run a segment. Why should not Devin Hester next year have offensive plays in his repertoire? This guy, if he causes in a Super Bowl total change of kickoff patterns, punting patterns, Remember that bubble screen we used to laugh at from, who was that knucklehead? Shoop. Remember Shoop?
Wasn't it Gary Croton?
Croton and Shoop. They had that 3-4 bubble wide receivers.
He used to always run it.
Yeah, but what if it passed through the ball to Hester out there? All you got to do is pop one, and in that one you're gone, right? Anyway, what do we know? We're just fans. I would have liked to have seen that. Let's bring up Chris from the north side of Chicago. Hey, Chris.
How are you?
Hey, Chris, what's your beef?
I'm a long way from late Sunday nights on that other station long ago.
You know what? I'll be back there someday, Chris. You know the big wheel keep on turning. Proud Mary keep on burning. What's your beef, Chris?
My beef is that for 2 weeks, all the pundits and even Peyton Manning said the reason that Indianapolis beat New England was two things. One, New England gave up on the run, and Peyton Manning said, I couldn't believe it when they did that. And secondly, they went no huddle to tire out the defense because the defense couldn't substitute. They'd get tired, and then we'd run, and they couldn't make the tackles. For 2 weeks we heard that, and I thought to myself, well, surely one of our three coaches, the coordinators or the head coach, would have heard that and learned something from that. But did they?
No, because you know what? They wanted to dance with the playbook that brung them.
That's right, and that's ridiculous.
Sure it is.
My grandfather played NFL football for the Canton Bulldogs. And he said what they would do is they wouldn't look to see how a team won. They'd look to see how a team lost.
Well, I like that. And you know what else? Maybe it works when most of the teams are on a level playing field. No pun intended there. You know, but when you're playing a team like the Colts, you can't just whip out the same old playbook. You got to do something different because they were statistically so much a better team than the Bears.
In other words, you've got to think.
Well, right. You know what? Maybe again, it worked fine against New Orleans. Worked fine against Seattle. You know what? You beat them head on head. This is what we do best. But this was not the time to only do what you, quote unquote, do best. Chris, great to visit with you. Phone again, okay, buddy? Appreciate it very much.
Thanks for participating in What's Your Beef. Join Murph for another edition of What's Your Beef. What's Your Beef has been brought to you by Brown's Chicken Sandwiches and Catering. All winners of the Mike Murphy Show are only eligible to win prizes once in a 60-day period.
Or else.